It's like you could want like a more demanding coach, or a coach who has a little bit more cachet or something like that. But like it just seems like that's not what these guys want. Like they basically wanted to do their own thing and run their own thing. And I think the addition of Harden is like an unbelievable example of that. Like if you're Nash, I think there's this weird thing where I think coaches or prospective coaches have all this like credibility and legitimacy. It's similar to a draft pick, like before they get hired. And then once they get hired, it's just like, oh yeah, dude, you're just like part of this like food chain. And Nash, you might have like been a shark, but like on in this Nets atmosphere, like you're the fourth or fifth like pony here. Like
Yeah.
like side marks and the three big dudes, like that's the only thing that like matters. And so like he's he's playing in this game that like I just don't really to me it almost strikes me as lose lose. Like it's kind of, you know what I mean. And like we saw with everything that comes out recently, and I'm sure, I mean, you read about this as much or more than I do. Like it seemed like Durant got sick of Kerr's shit, because I think Kerr was actually trying to kind of be an actual coach, which is something that like Curry and Clay are more susceptible or more tolerant of. But like I think they just kind of wanted their own dude. But sorry, go ahead. I felt like I
No,
had to say that.
I agree, and that's the thing. You can't give people everything they wish for, right? And it's look, the Nets are the most devastating offensive weapon ever fashioned by any basketball mind. Okay, it's a lot of it is serendipity, a lot of it is luck of the draw, who was available, when they were available. But at the same time, I say that part because if you were going to pick any three NBA players, you wouldn't pick these three NBA players to go together.
Right.
These three NBA players just so happen to want to play together and come together and have found a way to go together. But there could have been other formations that would have made a lot more sense than what's happening. So that's part of the challenge. It's not going to all fit like a glove, but if it could have ever been in any system, right? If you could have picked any system to put these three players in, it would be this system. And so that being said, we've got to kind of stomach all the other problems and hope that they figure out a way to fix this stuff. There was a play, and I wanted this play to be my play that told the story tonight.
Yep.
But I can't, because I can't remember exactly where it was. But there was a like someone fumbled the ball, and the ball kind of dribbled into the paint loose, and Kyrie and James Harden kind of looked at each other like, which one of us is the dive on the ball guy? You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
it was like we don't dive on the ball. That's not our job. We're the superstars.
Right.
And they kind of, and the ball basically dribbled in between the two of them, and they kind of looked at each other like, "Aren't you the dive on the ball guy?" I'm like kind of look on their face.
Yeah.
So those things are gonna probably get fixed, but the Nets almost have too much of a good thing, and as of right now, they have 3 roster slots open, but the pickings are slim out there.
True.
But I think we shouldn't overcomplicate things. I think we should call a spade a spade. This defense is terrible.
Yep.
And I think this, on some nights, on the nights that the shots are falling, and all of them have to fall almost, right, to overcome these are good little plucky, offensive, athletic. As soon as they took Drummond out, they became an athletic team. That it's just a go hard Cavs team, right? But they they bust our ass. like honestly, like we weren't supposed to come back the way we did. We came back for no reason, but we weren't supposed to come back the way they were beating us.
No, yeah,
And
and the way I feel about that is like honestly, I was gonna text you this during the game, and I was like, you know what, like I'll just, I'll just let the game play out. I'm with the way that they played, I'm actually relieved they lost the game because the comeback would have almost like
it would have
put
buried
a
the
stamp.
headline.
Yeah, it would have totally buried the headline, and like for them, like look, one way or another, you're gonna find out. Like for all the talk about like how much does Harden care, how much does Kyrie care, all that stuff. We know that KD like loves basketball. I think
Yeah.
that's fine. But like, like, it is embarrassing for them to lose this game, and it's going to be embarrassing if they don't perform well in the playoffs. And these guys are not in a point of their career where they have so many more moves to make that it's like, oh no, let's go to the next like shiny toy. Like they've been on like a lot of these guys have been on teams now. This isn't like their second rodeo or their first rodeo. They've done stuff, and so like they like the, it would have to me it would have been annoying for them to win this game and for everyone to be like, oh well, I guess like offense always wins out and whatever. It's like no, you guys got like manhandled to like the worst offensive team in the league. I know that they have a good defense, but like the worst offensive team in basketball, and
A team
you
that
guys play.
averages 99 a
Yeah,
game doesn't crack, three figures in a year where everybody's cracking three figures.
Yeah, and they played like they didn't care, and they played like they thought that it was going to be easy. And the thing is, and I know like we said this a lot before the bubble, when we were or like after the bubble, we were wondering how this year was going to be. And I think part of it is like getting used to the fact that like these teams with these superstars, like there's just going to be multiple games that where you saw it with all the LeBron teams in the over the last couple of years where they just kind of are like out of it and are lackadaisical. But at the end of the day, with this new NBA, it's basically like, well, if you show up in the playoffs, that's all that really matters. This isn't like, I mean, like Eve, you grow up with this, and I was too little. But like this isn't the Michael Jordan's NBA where you play every single game like it's your last and you don't and rest and all that stuff. Like that's not what this is. Like Jordan would never have a game where the team is absolutely
This
asleep
team
against
should
the
be
Nets.
able to sleepwalk, and the Nets should be able to sleepwalk and beat this team. And the
Yep.
reason why they don't is because they're not good. Now, I mean, the supporting cast isn't good. Tonight they only played their bench. Let's go run down the guys. Right, the only person who played significant minutes off the bench was Joe Harris. Joe Harris cut into DeAndre Jordan's minutes, who he played 24 minutes. But Luau Carabaro, 11 minutes. Perry, 10 minutes. Brown, 7 minutes. Chioza didn't
Yep.
come in. Tyler Johnson didn't come in. Shamet played no minutes at all. And we know Claxton isn't playing. So they played their main guys heavy. They didn't trust the bench at all. And it's, a lot of that had to do with the fact that the Nets were down most of the game and fighting their way back. And the bench guys showed nothing. And, like, I think the reason why I know DeAndre Jordan sucks, I, like, he looked all right. He scored the ball today.
He had the cheapest like good game I've ever seen before in my life.
But he only had 4 rebounds.
He was terrible, and he got totally manhandled by Drummond and whoever he was matched up with. It was like a defensive disaster. I think I was at the beginning of the year I was defending DeAndre more than almost anyone in Nets Nation. I'm completely not only have I jumped overboard, I'm like swimming in the opposite direction. Like I thought he was so pathetic. I'm glad that he's jumping better. Like I thought he actually caught some lobs a little bit higher than he was at the beginning of the year. But his defensive effort was like next level bad. Like
he plays standstill defense.
Yeah, it was statue stuff.
Like he just stands still and swings his arms, and he kind of pivots. Like he might pivot a little way in, a little. Oh, Samuel, what a L. I also want to point something else out to you. So
Do
not
it.
only did we have this where our starting guys had to do so much heavy lifting, um, it also kind of pointed out another problem that I don't think any Nets fans saw. See, the Nets used to be able to do a thing called bench Karras. If Nash even tried to bench Kyrie or Harden, they would flip out. And it might be the best thing that they could do, but they can't do that anymore. And it's something that you lose when you make these trades. Because you're dealing with such an ego at this point that maybe little strategic things that you might have been able to do with the the sub star, the fringe all star, but with the superstar, you might want to adjust in a series or when you play a certain team. You can't do that with the Nets because as I was analyzing what was going on with the team tonight, I realized, yo, that like Nash's hands are cuffed to try a couple different things because of who he's coaching. And I mean, it's tell me, could that ever happen? Would there ever be a time that Nash would put one of Harden or Kyrie on the bench?
I know. I mean, that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. Like, I mean, I think the whole Atkinson like treatment of D'Lo and Nash with Levert, like, I think you're basically. I think with that trade, also specifically, I think you really are basically throwing the keys to the scary hours, guys, and that's
Scary
basically it.
hours. it's
Like,
it's
I just don't. Like, what is Nash? I mean, like, what is Nash even? Which is why, I mean, this is exactly why I find it hard to like criticize him because I don't really know what his move is. Like if he gets any sort of acrimonious relationship with a player, the players have even more leverage now because if the Nets don't re-sign these guys, they're in a cataclysmic disaster zone with no talent and no, they're basically where they were in what you call it in whatever year 2013 it was 2014. So I mean, I think it's hard it's hard to coach that way. Like, I don't really, I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of this was done because of the Marks Nash combo, and I still do trust Marks a lot. And I found his interview with the fan today to be good, and I thought Evan, as usual, asked good questions, but
Marks doesn't say anything. He's like the king of answer and don't say anything.
yeah, he's fun. The stuff I get the most confidence from is that I do believe him that he has dialogue with the players, which to me that's like all I really care about because I trust his scouting, especially for young guys, and I mean we'll see. And most of his moves have been excellent. We'll see what this hard one becomes. But yeah, I mean, like with the Nash thing, I don't know. I think with a lot of these stars, and you see it consistently with the NBA, you're basically at a point where like it's them running the team, and unless you basically have a Popovich, Carlisle, Stevens type of thing, it's I mean that's basically it. But like no one ever talks about Frank Vogel with the Lakers, and no one ever talks about Ty Lue when LeBron had him or Ty Lue now. Like, I mean, it's and you like you look at the Clippers, like Kawhi and George have all the keys to the car in that situation because they're both well, George obviously signed an extension, but Kawhi's a free agent and they have no picks also. They gave them all to the Thunder. So this is what happens.
I mean, it's and let's see how good it is for them. I almost feel like they're making it easy for LeBron to get championships, building these teams that are so dysfunctional and have no hierarchy or structure. Structure's good. That's why these guys had so much good, success when they were young.